You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper than again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the second part of What If Naruto Enters Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of KFB Anime 87 on fanfiction.net. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. 5 minutes later. I take it back. This is awesome. Naruto cackled as he dodged missile fire from a bunch of turrets. This is my kind of training. Naruto laughed, gum gum balloon. Naruto yelled as he expanded his body into a giant balloon which the missiles hit before they bounced off him and back at the turrets making them explode. You're some kind of crazy, you know that? Janet asked flying next to him in shrunken form. Better to be crazy than boring. Why live if you can't be free to be yourself? Naruto asked with a smile as he slugged a robot drone sending it flying into a turret making it explode. Who? 15 points. Naruto cackled before a hole formed in the floor before him as Hulk threw a large piece of equipment through the floor. Exercise complete, Jarvis announced as the equipment all shut down. That the best you got, Tin Man? Hulk asked as Tony flew over. It's self-repairing, thanks for asking. By the way, that was level 1 of 10-inch, Tony said. Who? That was great. Much better than survival training with my mom back home. And no bears with chainsaws either. Naruto cackled. The hell kind of training did you do? Janet asked, genuinely freaked out by the bears with chainsaws thing. Assembly hall. Pepper lead them all to a new room that featured a large, high-tech table. And this is the assembly hall, Tony said as Janet and Naruto stepped inside to take a look first. All the money you've thrown into this is very impressive, Tony. Were you bored? Are we your new pet project? Why are we here? Hank asked with a small tone of irritation. That's a good question. Kind of angry, but that's okay. Tony said as everyone walked towards the table other than Hulk. Dude, what's your deal? It's obvious if you think about it, Naruto said as he looked at Hank. What, that we're just some team now? Teams are built on trust. Even then I'm a scientist first. I'd rather talk it out with villains than go straight to violence like you. Hank said as he looked at Naruto. Then go play scientist while we build up the team then. You being a downer isn't gonna help anyone, Naruto told him as he approached the table. I'm not being a downer, Hank said offended. Yes you are, Hank, Janet said with an annoyed sigh, making the scientist flinch a little before he walked over to the table to join them. Jarvis, pull up the most wanted list, Tony said as the table displayed a hologram of multiple faces swirling around in a cylinder around the table. 74 supervillains escaped the day of the breakout. Graviton is being held by S.H.I.E.L.D. and we caught Mandrill. But we've got more work to do. Tony said. I know many of these villains. The Wrecker and his crew are formidable. His weapon is of unearthly might. Thor said looking over the escaped villains. If we do recapture them all, where do we put them? Hank asked, the big house is destroyed, the vault is destroyed. We haven't heard anything about the cube. Hank reminded. I'm working with a colleague on something now. Reed Richards has proposed a prison that's actually outside this dimension in a place he calls the negative zone, Tony said. Sounds like a good idea, has he given you any updates? Naruto inquired. Not for a while, which is weird. Seeing as he said this was a priority, Tony admitted. Too much talking. We should just go get these guys, Hulk growled from his corner, irritated with all the talking. We don't even know what caused the breakout in the first place. What's to stop it from happening there? Hank asked. Well, we can't just sit here and let the bad guys run around unchecked, wait, can we? Naruto asked. No, Tony said flatly. Ah well, there went my evening plans, Naruto said with a faux sigh. What, had a date? Tony asked with a smirk. Nah, I was gonna hang out around here seeing as I don't have a lot to move here, Naruto said as he shrugged. Oh yeah, which reminds me, I have your new suit ready, Tony said. No spandex. Naruto yelled, not even looking at the suit. Relax. It's armor like myself. You can be called Iron Joy, Tony said with a smirk as a suit of orange and black armor walked in. Pass, I don't need that. Besides, can my stretching even work in it? Naruto asked as he shook his head. Oh yeah, I wanted to ask, why don't you wear a hero outfit? Janet asked curiously as she looked at Naruto. Is it required? I mean, I get it, you know, the whole secret identity thing, but most of you are already known out of costume by the public seeing as you don't wear masks. Naruto quirked an eyebrow. Well, why don't I take you shopping for some new threads then? We obviously aren't going to get any more done today. We can concentrate on beating up bad guys tomorrow, Janet said. Works for me as long as it's still comfortable and lets me use my powers, Naruto said with a smile. At least one of you knows what they're doing, Hulk scoffed as he turned to walk away. I have had enough of you, creature. Your insults end here. Thor glared as he stomped towards the Hulk. You wanna go, Goldilocks? Let's go, Hulk growled. Whoa. Okay. How about instead of going, we find a way to get along? Since you two and RBB boy are the only ones staying at the mansion full time, I'd appreciate it if you didn't level the place on day 1, Tony said as he broke up the would-be fight. Yeah, no fighting, not before I take bets at least, Janet said with a chuckle. I have 20 on the big guy, Naruto said as he took out his wallet. Which big guy? Janet asked with a smirk. Ha! Naruto chuckled as they high-fived. It's like herding cats, Tony sighed as he shook his head. Highest. Naruto said as he waved his hand at Tony as he left the room with Janet as Hulk stomped away towards his bedroom. New York City 2 hours later. So what do you think? Janet asked, gesturing to a hot topic. Why are there so many belts? Who needs that many belts for their pants? Naruto asked, confused, why is that shirt made of belts? Okay, maybe we should start with a different store, Janet said with an eye roll. Hey, don't look at me. You recommended the store, Naruto deflected. You really aren't from around civilization, are you? Janet asked as they entered a more normal clothing shop. We have people who can literally create food and clothes from their fingertips. Kind of negates the need to interact with other places, Naruto admitted. Yeah, but you like the outside world otherwise. Why bother protecting it? Janet asked as they approached the men's section of the store. All my life I was next in line to be the next village leader after my mom. And I always wanted to be free to choose my own path. Maybe I do this for a thrill, or maybe it's just the right thing to do, but I want to follow my path all the way. No matter how rough it gets, I don't want to stop, Naruto admitted. And your path is being a hero? Janet questioned curiously. Well, when I see people who need help it's like a impulse. Heck, my first heroic moment that I remember was as a kid. I beat up some poachers that were locking up some animals outside the village to sell. I hate letting people like that trample on the freedoms and lives of others. Naruto said. Janet nodded at this as she agreed with this. I'm gonna guess that's why you decked Kelly so hard he was missing teeth, she asked curiously. That dumbass was lucky I was holding back. I don't honestly think I've ever had the urge to punch a hole in someone that much before, Naruto admitted before he found some clothes on a rack and grabbed them. Yeah, mutants get a bad enough rap as it is without that guy making things worse for them, Janet said as Naruto entered a stall to change. A rooftop outside. As the two shopped outside the clothing shop on a rooftop, the Enchantress, also known as Amora, was looking down at the two along with her executioner and a cloaked figure. So this is New York, huh? The figure asked. It's way too bright in this city. I think it needs some darkness to cover it up, the figure said, taking down its hood, revealing it was Sasuke. You can do that later. Remember, you're to deal with the RBB boy while I turn the green monster against the others, Enchantress reminded him. Yeah, whatever, you skank. I don't care as long as I get that BSTRD's head to send to his bee of a mom, Sasuke said before Executioner held his axe to his neck. Watch your words, whelp, Executioner growled. Now boys, we're all on the same team, aren't we? Why should we fight each other? Enchantress asked with a smile. TCH, whatever. Just don't get in my way and we'll be fine. Otherwise you'll never light again, Sasuke told them with a scowl as he walked away. I believe I shall take a closer look, Enchantress said as she waved her hands and formed a human disguise of a green shirt, jeans, and a pair of green heels and vanished down into an alleyway before the Executioner could talk her out of it. Amora walked out from the alleyway towards the shop, passing under two men cleaning windows via a scaffolding. The scaffolding, however, had a loose screw due to the movement. The results? 2 men and a scaffolding falling from a large height onto a passing by Amora. However, before Amora could move to use a spell to negate any effects, Naruto suddenly appeared in front of her, expanding into a balloon as he grabbed the 2 men while also taking the hit from the falling scaffolding instead. Naruto was now wearing a red shirt, a black tie and black pants along with his regular shoes. Whew! Good thing I finished paying. Naruto exclaimed before he looked at Amora. You okay? Naruto asked Amora as he turned back into his normal self. Why, yes. I am fine. Thank you very much, Amora said, playing up the act of the saved damsel in distress. No problem. Can't let a pretty woman like you get hurt, Naruto said with a friendly smile. Amora's eyes slightly widened at this bit before she could say anything. She was interrupted. Naruto, we have to go. Janet shouted as she flew out in her small form. What happened? Naruto asked as he looked at the small woman. Hulk and Thor are fighting in the park and Tony and Hank are trying to get them to stop, but they are having trouble, so let's go. Janet said as she flew off. SHT, let's go stop them. See you later, pretty lady. Naruto yelled as he used his arms to slingshot himself towards the park. Most men only call me that under my thrall or when I'm actively seducing them, Amora muttered, watching as Naruto and Janet left to help their big green teammate. You done leering at that RBB idiot? Sasuke asked with an annoyed tone as he and Executioner approached her from an alleyway. Enchantress ignored him as she still looked after where Naruto and Janet left. Enchantress? Executioner questioned, finally getting her attention. Come. Let us make haste towards the battle, Enchantress said before the 3 vanished in green flames. Central Park. At the park. Things were not going well for anyone not named the Hulk. Mostly because Ant-Man was thrown into a statue, and Iron Man was being used as a club to hit Thor. Hulk, calm down. Tony yelled before being clubbed into Thor's face again. Hey big guy. That's not how you treat friends. Naruto yelled as he swung into the park with Wasp flying behind him. Hulk roared at Naruto while he threw Tony away from him before pounding on his chest. Oh. You want to take me on? Naruto asked with a grin. Naruto, not that you're not impressive, but the Hulk might be above your pay grade, Wasp said. Ash looked at Naruto as he cracked his knuckles. Wasp, go take cover and check on the others. Naruto said as he cracked his neck and smiled at Hulk. You can't be serious. Even with that red skin thing you can't win. Janet told him. That's why I'm gonna go up a gear. Hope Tony's bank account doesn't mind paying for the damages. Naruto yelled as he ran at the Hulk while he readied his fist. Up a gear? Wait, you have another power-up? Janet asked but was ignored. Naruto smiled as he put his thumb in his mouth as the Hulk roared and charged at him. Gear 3rd. Naruto yelled before blowing air into his RBB arm. Bone balloon. He yelled as his arm became massive. Easily 3 times bigger than the Hulk. You have gotta be kidding me, Tony said with a groan as he stood up and saw this. Gum gum giant pistol. Naruto yelled as he threw his enlarged fist at the charging Hulk. Only for the Hulk to stop it after being sent back a bit. Well SHT, Naruto said. Reag. Hulk roared as he grabbed Naruto's enlarged fist and with a pull threw it over his shoulder and slammed Naruto on the ground behind him. I regret nothing. Naruto yelled before being slammed spine first into the ground. Only to see the Hulk continue walking towards Thor as if he were in a trance. Hey Tony, you getting anything weird on the Hulk right now? Naruto asked as he stood back up from the crater as a tiny form. I'm more concerned why you're smaller than a munchkin, Tony said with an amused tone. Oh my god, he's cute. Janet yelled with a smile at seeing this. I'm working on it, DMN. I need some time to revert back to my normal gorgeous self, Naruto yelled as he waved his fists in the air, which just made Janet smile. Hey Janet, focus on the green Goliath and not the chibi, Tony said with a smirk. I'm so pranking you for that, Stark. Naruto yelled still as a chibi. Tony ignored this as he scanned the Hulk with his scanner and saw that there was some kind of weird energy around the Hulk's head, more specifically his eyes. There's some kind of weird energy around the Hulk. It's similar to your hammer, Thor, Tony said as he looked towards the Asgardian warrior. 'Tis dark magic. The Hulk has been enchanted, Thor said with a realization. Great, just what I wanted. A magically enchanted unjolly green giant. Naruto said as he turned back into normal form. Tony flew at the Hulk only to be backhanded away. As the Hulk roared, Ant-Man became giant and slammed his palm onto the Hulk, hoping to contain him. So should we count this as a team-building exercise? Hank asked, thinking Hulk was restrained and was then thrown off unceremoniously. Hey big guy. Sun's getting real low, huh? Naruto asked before Hulk grabbed his outstretched arm and slammed him into the ground like a ragdoll. You okay? Janet asked as Naruto got up with a groan. Just my pride is hurt, Naruto said as he got to his feet. You have pride? Tony asked as he got up before they watched Thor try and jump onto Hulk from behind and then get tossed away. Janet flew at the Hulk, sending blasts at his face only for Hulk to clap his hands against her, crushing her before looking down and preparing to punch out the unconscious Wasp. Hey! Naruto yelled as he unleashed his Conqueror's Haki. Hulk looked at Naruto with a glare at this before roaring back. You may be my friend big guy, but if you hurt any of my other friends I'll lay you out like any other villain, so you better be sure before you make your next move, Naruto said with a glare as he hit Hulk again with his Conqueror's Haki. This caused the magic around the Hulk's head to falter and the Hulk to grab his head and shake it a bit. You good now, big guy? Naruto asked the Hulk as he approached him. The Hulk glared at Naruto for a few moments before he backhanded him, sending Naruto into a tree nearby. You'd! Naruto yelled before he saw the Hulk leap away after dropping Janet. Well, that went well. Is everyone okay? Tony was asking before a giant battle axe was embedded into his armor before falling back. Oh god, who pissed off the Renaissance Fair? Naruto asked, seeing the new arrivals. Before Naruto could move, he was suddenly pulled to the side by an invisible force and was grabbed by Sasuke, who glared at him. Sasuke? Naruto asked, surprised as he saw the teen. Hello loser, Sasuke said before slamming Naruto into a tree back first, making Naruto shout in pain and spit up some BLD. You and I have some unfinished business, Sasuke said. What are you on about? I didn't make you leave, you did it on your own, Naruto groaned. You're worthless, whereof a mother banished me. I'll send your head to her as a gift, Sasuke scowled. Technically, she said if you didn't like her decisions there was the door, she didn't actually banish you. You could come back anytime, Naruto said with a groan from the pain. Sasuke growled at this before he threw Naruto into Thor, sending them both to the ground. No. I have a better plan. I'll kill you, then your parents, and then everyone else that doesn't swear loyalty to me from our village, Sasuke said as he dropped his cloak to the ground. I thought you were immune to physical pain, my friend, Thor said as he got up and helped Naruto to his feet. Let's just say his powers are bullshit. He can negate any of my village's powers when he touches them upside. He takes twice the damage a normal person takes, Naruto said. That's it. Kinda makes him useless against the rest of us, Hank said as he stood up in his giant form over Sasuke. Sasuke glared at this as what looked like living darkness sprang to life around him. Let's test that, shall we? Tony's sensors started going nuts at this. Get out of the way. Tony yelled out to his team. Why? Hank asked, confused at the worry. Black hole. Sasuke yelled as she sent his darkness along the ground towards them. Luckily Naruto grabbed Wasp and leapt into a far-away tree before grabbing the rest of the team and bringing them up. Away from the darkness on the ground. I still do not see the threat, Thor said before they all watched as the other trees and park decorations, even the statue, were absorbed into Sasuke's darkness. As if they were never there. How about now? Naruto asked flatly. Liberation. Sasuke yelled out as his darkness came out of the ground and spat out everything that his darkness has consumed at the Avengers. Any strategies, Whiskers? Tony asked as they all scattered to avoid the attack. Leave Sasuke to me. You guys take down the medieval reject and the CC, leggy blonde chick, Naruto told them. The what? Tony asked as Naruto jumped down and sent a hockey-infused fist into Sasuke's face. Sending the emo flying. Gah. So you finally learned hockey, you dope. That which wasn't lying, Sasuke said as he wiped his lip and saw he was bleeding. Yeah, funny thing about your powers. Since you take double damage and hockey cuts through your negation, you're pretty much in for a world of hurt, Naruto said with a smirk. Look who's all grown up and acting cocky now, Sasuke scoffed before he stood up. You never once could beat me in 1,000 years. Your hockey changes nothing. I'm still your superior in every way, loser, Sasuke said. I'm not the same kid anymore, Sasuke. Sorry that your god complex is still the same as it's always been. Or is this whole thing because you're overcompensating for not having anything between your legs? Naruto asked with a smirk as he switched to Gear 2. I'm going to start peeling off your skin piece by piece. I'm not sure when I'll stop, Sasuke said with a growl as his eyebrow twitched violently. Didn't deny it. Naruto cackled before sending a hockey-infused kick into Sasuke, who blocked with his hockey-infused arm. You may have speed dope, but I can tell what you're gonna do thanks to my observation hockey and you being predictable, Sasuke said with a haughty smirk. Nutcracker. Naruto yelled, sending a hockey-infused knee into Sasuke's PP as he monologued. Ayahawa. Sasuke screamed in pain from the hit. Mom always did teach me to aim for the groin constantly. Remember? Naruto asked with a smirk at the kneeling in pain Sasuke. DMNU. Sasuke groaned as he laid on the ground. Well, hey, you finally proved you have a set, or at least you did. I think one of them popped. Naruto chuckled. I believe we should retreat, Amora said as she and Executioner were not faring well against the Avengers as the Hulk had returned for payback. Hulk roared as he backhanded Executioner and took a swing at Amora. But before the blow could hit her, Naruto appeared in front of her and took the hit with his gum-gum balloon. Amora's eyes widened at seeing this before she composed herself and used her mag to make her Executioner and Sasuke disappear in green flames. SHT kid, are you being controlled now? Tony yelled at this. No. Naruto said as he deflated himself back to normal. Okay, then I have a very important question. Why in the F would you take a hit for a villain? Tony yelled at Naruto. 'Cause it would have seriously hurt her and I don't kill PRD. Besides, I wanted to bring her in for questioning. This all seems weird that they targeted us after we just became a team. Whether they knew Thor or not, they played us. I had questions. And let's be real. Hulk would have killed her in his rage. Can't really blame him, admittedly, Naruto said as he looked at Hulk. He's right, Tony. Besides, we need to get Janet medical attention, Hank said as he shrunk down to his normal size. The Enchantress has only ever found joy in causing me pain. Regardless of reasoning, you have won the day, friend Hulk. Truly thou art a warrior to be reckoned with. For few can resist the Enchantress charms. Thor said, placing a hand on Hulk's shoulder only for Hulk to shrug it off. It wasn't me, it was him, Hulk said firmly as he looked at Naruto, and nothing's changed. You all thought I was a savage monster. You were gonna take me down, Hulk growled. Hey, I only got mean 'cause you hurt Janet. I'd do the same if someone hurt you, which reminds me, next time I see that lady I'm slugging her for messing with your mind, Naruto said with a scowl as he mad a mental note. You're all no different from Ross and S.H.I.E.L.D. Except they're honest about it. Hulk scoffed before he started to walk away and leapt into the air away from them. Well, that went well, Tony said with a sigh at this. I'm sure he will be back, Naruto said with a smile. You just like looking on the bright side, don't you, Whiskers? Tony asked. Well, it's better than being a downer like old man Hill over here, Naruto snickered, pointing at Hank, who looked annoyed at Naruto's dig at him. Arctic. Hulk stood on a frozen tundra growling before unleashing a loud roar, making the ice crack from his fury before leaping away. Unknowing of the legend he had unearthed encased in the ice. With Sasuke. Sasuke was in a hidden underground base with Executioner standing nearby while Amora was using her magic to watch Naruto as he talked to Janet, who was being checked on in the medical wing of the Avengers mansion. Still looking at that loser? I don't understand why waste your time since he's a worm that will be crushed by me, Sasuke scoffed as he looked at the image of Naruto. Amora said nothing to this before she quickly turned and kicked Sasuke in the face with her foot, sending him to the ground. Quiet, you worthless fool. Amora yelled in a show of fury. What the hell's got your panties in a twist? You and your boss want him dead anyways, so why does it matter? Of insult the loser, Sasuke asked as he stood back up from her kick. You will watch your tongue, boy, or I will rip it out of your worthless mouth and skin your pathetic hide. Amora yelled with a glare. Faye. Whatever. I don't care enough to see what the hell's in your head, you crazy beat, Sasuke scoffed. Amora ignored Sasuke before she went back to watching Naruto, a faint smile and a blush on her face. Her heart fluttering like it never had around Thor. Arctic. A group of 3 fishermen were pulling in a net of fish from the freezing water when they looked up to see Iron Man, Thor, and a Quinjet flying above them. Excuse me, guys. Hi. You didn't happen to see a cranky, giant green dash? Tony was asking before the fishermen pointed over yonder from them. Well, guess they did. Tony said before they flew off in said direction. Good, we have a lead on the big guy. Can we get the hell out of here yet? Naruto yelled out from inside the Quinjet where he was sitting in his seat wearing a winter coat and shivering while rubbing his hands trying to keep warm. Not a fan of the cold, huh? Janet asked curiously from the pilot's seat. Probably 'cause RBB gets brittle in the cold, Hank said as he shook his head. No, it's 'cause it's cold. Not everything needs a nerd explanation, DMN it. Naruto yelled as he tried to make himself warm by rubbing his hands together. That's probably the shrinkage talking, RBB boy, Tony quipped over the intercom. Just turn on the goddamn heater or I'm gonna mutiny. Naruto yelled as he kicked the seat in front of him for emphasis. Yeah, sure. Flying this is the coolest thing I've ever done, Janet said as she looked at the controls. It's actually on autopilot, Wasp. Sorry. As for the heater, hit the red button, Tony said. Which one? Janie asked as she looked at the display of buttons. Just pick one before I start chopping up seats and lighting them on fire. Naruto yelled before Wasp hit a button which ejected Naruto's seat out of the Quinjet. Whoops, Janet said as she chuckled sheepishly. You'll pay for this, Tony. Naruto yelled as he and his seat fell onto the ice below. The fishermen were pointing towards that crater. Meet us there when you can, RBB boy, Tony said with a snicker. What is that, Ant-Man? A meteor hit? Tony asked. No, that's the Hulk throwing a tantrum, Ant-Man deadpanned. I'll give you all AF tantrum. Naruto grumbled as he cracked his neck and stretched his arms to slingshot himself over to the crater just as the Quinjet landed. Sure, took your time, RBB boy, Tony said with an audible smirk under his helmet. When we're done here I'm going to beat you with your own arm, Naruto growled out. Truly the Hulk's anger is impressive, Thor said looking at the destruction caused. Tell me Iron Man, how do you plan to convince him to come back with us? He asked. I have no idea Thor. Jarvis scan for life forms, Iron Man ordered. Mortal technology. You would do better to trust your eyes and ears, Thor scoffed as he watched this. I'm picking something up. It's a life sign but it's faint. That's so weird though since I can't see or hear it, Tony said with some snark before Wasp flew past them. Okay, if this is some kind of evil snow monster, I'm going to be dash, Wasp was saying before she collided with a large piece of ice with what looked like a red, white, and blue shield with a star on it. Tony, Janet said wide-eyed as Thor and Iron Man joined her as they looked to see a man in a similar blue, white, and red uniform. Captain America. And according to my armor he's alive, Tony said in shock. Who's the popsicle with the shield? Naruto asked as Thor lifted the frozen man into the Quinjet by dragging the huge chunk of ice he was in on board. You don't know who Steve Rogers is? Hank asked with a raised eyebrow as he recognized the frozen man. What part of an isolated village in a different country didn't you get? Wait, was he a game show host? Naruto asked curiously, getting a groan from Janet. We'll fill you in on the ship. Get on, Tony ordered. Oh hell no. Not so you can eject or seat me again you PP, Naruto said with a head shake. Just get in the jet you loon, Janet said as she flew past him and into the jet. Hey, that's not fair. The voices in my head tell me I'm great, Naruto said with a smirk. Oh. What do they say about me? Janet asked with a smirk back. Too good for the workaholic, Naruto said as he walked past her. Janet blinked in surprise at this as while she had been hanging out with Naruto lately to try and make Hank jealous she didn't actually expect Naruto to flirt back. Oi, you two can flirt later after we unfreeze the captain, Tony said as he closed the Quinjet door and made it fly away from the Arctic. Later. 2 hours later the Quinjet was making its way into New York airspace and Janet had just finished explaining who Steve Rogers was to Naruto. So let me get this straight. This guy is the super soldier that every single other secret government agency keeps trying to base their terrible super soldier experiments on. Naruto asked, getting a nod. Huh, so he was like the first real superhero. Cool, Naruto said with a smile at this as he could respect that, and his whole deal was beating up Nazis with a shield. Naruto asked curiously. Well, the shield was unbreakable and from what I heard he could throw it around like a frisbee, Janet said as she nodded. Huh, not bad. I may have to spar with him. See how my hockey does against his shield, Naruto grinned in anticipation. Plan that later. I think he's waking dash, Hank was saying before Captain America shot up and headbutt Hank in his helmet, sending him flying into the pilot seat before he sent a kick at Thor's face and leapt off the medical table. Whoa, wait. Everything's dash, Tony was saying before Captain America sent the table into Iron Man, pinning him to the wall. Okay Captain, you're safe, Tony groaned out. You're with friends. What are you, some kind of Hydra automaton? Captain America questioned. Automaton? That an old man's word for a drunk robot? Naruto asked with a laugh. You wanna help RBB boy? Tony asked with an annoyed tone of voice. I was gonna let this play out. See how it went first, Naruto said with a smile at this. Listen, you've been frozen in ice for decades. Tony said as he tried to explain the situation. You're creative. I'll give you that, Cap said with a firm look. Where have you taken me? Where's Bucky? Cap demanded. I'll do you one better. Who's Bucky? Naruto asked curiously as while he had heard a lot of odd names in his life this was a new one for him. Calm yourself, Captain. As the robot says, you are among friends, Thor said placatingly as he approached the captain and placed a hand on his shoulder. And then promptly was smacked with a shield and judo flipped into Hank and then the controls making a large explosion. This caused the Quinjet to go out of control and start to fall towards the Statue of Liberty. As it flew off, the awakened Captain America opened the ramp hatch and dove out into the water below before swimming to the Liberty Island. Oi! That was unnecessary. Naruto yelled out as he tried to stay on his feet. Then go after him, you ramen sing fool. Hank yelled. Disrespect ramen again and I will make you suffer. Naruto growled. Naruto, come on. Janet yelled as she flew out of the jet after Cap. On my way. Naruto yelled as he pumped his legs and went into gear second and shot after Janet out of the jet. He shot himself down towards what looked like a memorial where he saw Cap talking to Janet. We don't want to fight you, Janet tried to tell him. Jet pistol. Naruto yelled as he sent his fist at Cap, who raised his shield just in time as the fist struck it. Clang. Okay, Joy Boy, does it seems. Janet said deadpan. I wanna see how super you are. Give me your best, Captain. Naruto said with an excited smile, Jet Gatling. Naruto yelled as he sent a barrage of punches at the super soldier, who blocked his strikes with his shield and held it as Naruto's punches bounced off the unbreakable shield. Clang. 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 I have no time for any of Zemo's experiments, Cap said before he leapt over Naruto's Gatling punches and threw his shield at Naruto, which hit him in the head and did nothing but cause the shield to bounce back at Cap, who caught it. Ha! Nice try, soldier boy. Too bad for you, everything is made of RBB. Naruto cackled, stretching his mouth with his finger and letting it snap back into place for good measure, A for effort though. Okay, stop. You have to come with us. This is not 1943-inch Iron Man said as he, Thor, and Giant Man surrounded the captain. He is a warrior Stark. He will not yield, Thor said as he readied himself to continue the fight. Okay, I think we should stop this before innocents get hurt, Naruto said, seeing a tourist boat nearby taking photos. Naruto looked at the captain and sent a pulse of Conqueror's Haki at him to try and knock out the super soldier. The super soldier felt the pulse but stood his ground before flinging his shield at Iron Man, who dodged it but was then tackled by the captain. He blocked out my Haki? Naruto asked, actually surprised before his smile got bigger. Finally a worthy foe. Alright, let's kick this up a gear. Gear third. Naruto grinned as he placed his thumb in his mouth and blew into it, bone balloon. Naruto yelled as Cap took out Iron Man, Thor, and Giant Man in seconds using Iron Man's own repulsor arm. Cap looked at Naruto's giant arm without fear as he readied his shield in response. However, before the two could clash, Janet shot her stingers at the back of Cap's head, getting his attention. Sorry, but I need you to listen to me before you and Joy Boy destroy the island, Janet apologized as she flew in front of Steve's face. My apologies, miss. This soldier doesn't listen to Hydra agents, Captain America told her. Oi. Don't compare us to that group of Nazi BSTRDS. Naruto yelled out in a high-pitched voice, thanks to his third gear wearing off before he could throw a punch. What are you exactly? Cap asked as he looked at Naruto. I'm a RBB man. Naruto yelled out in his chibi form. Ignore him for a second. Don't listen, just look, Wasp told him as she flew a bit over towards the Statue of Liberty to a monument, beckoning Steve to follow her. Which he reluctantly did. When he came to where she was leading him, however, he stared in shock at the monument. A monument dedicated to the memory of himself and Bucky. Steve stared in wide-eyed shock at the monument as the Avengers walked up behind him. You've been gone a long time, Captain, Tony told him before placing a hand on his shoulder. Welcome back. So are we not fighting anymore? Naruto asked, still in his tiny form. No, but don't worry, I'll get you a juice box, Ak. Tony was saying with a chuckle at Naruto before he had butted him in the knee. What is your head made of? Tony demanded in pain. You're a brilliant scientist, figure it out, chump, Naruto told him as he turned back into his fully grown self again but grabbed his stomach and groaned. You doing okay? Janet asked as she grew back to regular size. Gear third makes me incredibly hungry. When I trained with it back home I ate my village's food supply, Naruto admitted. We'll get you some food back at the mansion. Till then eat Hank or Thor first, Tony told him as the Quinjet landed nearby. Ha ha ha, Naruto deadpanned as they all got on the jet. Back at the mansion. The Quinjet landed in the hangar of the mansion as Tony was filling in Captain America or Steve Rogers on stuff he had missed. So we won the war, Steve said, absorbing the info as they descended the ramp of the Quinjet. Thanks in part to you, Tony told him as they all let him inside. So Hydra's gone? Steve asked curiously. It's complicated, Tony responded sheepishly. I've had Jarvis prepare a room for you until we get everything sorted out. You've been gone a long time, Cap, Tony told him. I'm sure he can bounce back given time. From what I heard, those old school soldiers were as tough as my mom, Naruto said with a smile. Welcome back, sir, Jarvis greeted Tony as they walked further in, getting Steve's attention. The building has its own voice. 'Tis very disconcerting, Thor helpfully explained to Steve. It's friendly though. It may be a huge jump admittedly, but you'll manage, Naruto told Steve as Tony led them to the assembly hall. There's something I need to show you, Tony told Steve as a hologram displayed. My dad used to tell me stories about you when I was a kid. You were an inspiration to me, Tony told him as a hologram displayed a newspaper headlined with Captain America Fallen. And the nation's heart falls with him. Whoa, he was that big, huh? Naruto asked Janet with a grin as he looked at the newspaper. That's some poor reporting, Steve said looking stoically at the newspaper article, but if I survived maybe Bucky, Steve started to say with some hope in his voice before Tony placed a hand on his shoulder. I'm sorry, Cap. Every kid in school learns that Captain America and Bucky sacrificed their lives to stop the Red Skull. It's a miracle you survived, Tony told him apologetically. Hey, crazy things have happened. If Cap survived, then maybe Bucky did. Heck, he probably just stayed under the radar and lived a full life, Naruto said, trying to cheer Steve up. No. Bucky's gone, Steve sighed out. Everyone I ever knew. My whole world. It's all gone, isn't it? He asked sadly before he took his shield off and placed it on the table before walking away. Not gone, more moved on, but I would think the world could still use someone like you, Naruto said, firmly getting everyone's attention. If it's moved on, I doubt it, Steve said before walking off. Are you kidding? Hydra is still around. You have assholes trying to lock up people for being different. The world could use a bit of old-fashioned again, Naruto said seriously. Wait, what? Steve asked, passing at this and turning to look at Naruto with a surprised look on his face. Come on and I will explain while I show you to your room, Naruto told him as he led Steve away from the assembly hall. I can't believe he'd just give up, Janet sighed out sadly. Give him some time, Jan, Hank told her just as an alert came on the screen. Alert. Reports of giant monsters are coming in from Ellis Island, Jarvis said, displaying a screen of some sentient globs covering the island. Avengers assemble. Tony yelled out to the team. We're all right here barring Uzumaki, Hank deadpanned. He can catch up later, Tony said as he, Thor, and Hank ran on ahead, leaving Wasp behind as she looked towards the door where Steve and Naruto left through. Unaware of another figure in the rafters above. Ellis Island. Doughboy, a sentient mass of dough created by Arnim Zola, started to attack the island by growing 3 giant heads and taking a bite out of the island. Amazing. They appear to be some kind of man-made biological life form, Hank analyzed with an astonished tone. You say man-made as if you were proud of this, Thor told him as he struggled to move his arms away from the sentient dough mass before he was sucked into a giant piece of it. Tony descended and fired a repulsor blast at the giant dough pile, only for his repulsor to be absorbed by it and for the giant dough creature to roar at him. Guys, my repulsors aren't affecting them, Tony said. If anyone's got any ideas, now's the time, Tony was saying before the dough creature leapt onto him. Avengers Mansion. Welcome to Avengers Mansion. Please identify yourself, Jarvis said as right outside the gates of the mansion, a splintered off large piece of doughboy floated before the gates, making people scream and run in fear. As this occurred, Steve was sitting in his room as Naruto explained the mutant issue. So the government has issues with these mutants simply for having powers that occurred naturally? Steve questioned. Exactly. They either try to weaponize them into brainwashed attack dogs or have them killed or imprisoned simply out of fear, Naruto explained as Steve frowned at this news just as Janet knocked on the door to the room and entered. "How's it going in here?" Janet asked, hoping things were going okay. "We've made some progress, I think. Anyways, Steve, what do you think of the room? I know Tony tried to make it as much like the 1940s as he could," Naruto asked before the antique radio suddenly displayed Jarvis. "Excuse me, Miss Wasp, Mr. Joyboy, there appears to be a guest at the main gate," Jarvis told them. "As much like the 40s except for the talking computer it seems," Janet sighed. "Hostile or friendly?" Naruto asked curiously before they heard a roar and felt the mansion rumbling as all the way at Ellis Island the giant dough globs were merging into one gigantic glob of dough. "Hostile it is. Why can't it ever just be the pizza guy?" Naruto sighed as he, Wasp, and Cap started to run out of the room down the halls. "We can get pizza later, let's deal with this guy first," Janet said as they made their way down the hall. "Okay, but if there's pineapple we're gonna have a problem," Naruto quipped. "On my half?" Janet asked with a pout at Naruto. "That's not fair, curse you and your cuteness," Naruto said as he grumbled under his breath, getting a grin of victory from Janet. "I need my shield," Steve told them as they ran. "It's just up ahead," Janet told them as she flew on ahead before she stopped her flight, seeing the splintered off doughboy piece floating towards her. Which farted as it approached. "Ew," Janet as she gagged at this. "Wow, and I thought some of the Zoan fighters back home were ugly. I mean wow. Hey buddy, I think the ugly contest is that away," Naruto said as he looked at the monster and pointed in the other direction. As Doughboy roared at them at this, a figure wearing a purple outfit and holding a rapier was approaching Steve from behind. Naruto froze as he felt this thanks to his observation hockey before he turned and threw a punch over Steve's shoulder, slugging the figure and sending him skidding down the hallway. "What the?" Steve asked, looking before his eyes narrowed after he saw who Naruto had slugged. Zemo. He glared just as a turret opened up under Wasp and fired missiles at Doughboy, who ate them without issue and burped smoke. "Ugh, you're fat and disgusting," Janet shuddered, "and lucky for me slow," Janet said before flying at him, firing her stingers at the dough blob, who roared in pain and started to gain speed chasing her. "Okay, maybe not slow," Janet admitted, flying away. "Well, now it has been too long, my old enemy," Zemo said as he drew his blade. "Who's the guy with the sock puppet mask?" Naruto asked Steve. "Baron Zemo. A leader of Hydra," Steve said, glaring at Zemo. "This guy? He looks like a Sesame Street character on a budget," Naruto quipped. "I am a high-ranking officer of Hydra, so watch your tongue before I cut it out of your insolent mouth, boy," Zemo said as he glared at Naruto. "Really? What are you gonna do? Start the Muppet Show?" Naruto asked with a smirk as he saw he was getting to Zemo. "Ha!" Janet yelled, laughing at this before Doughboy leapt at her and opened its mouth, swallowing her whole. "Perhaps you should have worried more about her than my appearance, Joy Boy," Zemo mocked as Doughboy grabbed Janet. "SHT. Janet!" Naruto yelled as he turned to see this. "Go help her." "I have Zemo," Steve told him as he kept his eyes on Zemo. Naruto nodded at this before he pumped his legs and shot at Doughboy in Gear 2, his fist ready. "How's this taste? Gum gum, Red Hawk." Naruto yelled as he sent an on-fire fist at Doughboy, punching a hole clean through the sentient dough blob and sent it flying all over the place in a spray of globs of dough. "You okay, Janet?" Naruto asked, seeing her fly up covered in dough, coughing. "That was disturbing," she admitted before she was suddenly shot by an energy blast, sending her to the floor. "Janet!" Naruto yelled before he turned to glare at Zemo holding a smoking energy gun while Steve was against a wall. "Was she important to you, Joy Boy?" Zemo asked with a mocking tone before suddenly he hunched over as he was sent flying into the end of the hall after Naruto slugged him hard in the stomach, which he didn't see coming thanks to him being in second gear. "All of my friends are important to me, you sock puppet reject." Naruto yelled before he sent a volley of fists at the Hydra leader. Zemo was unable to react to the hit, slamming him into the wall. "I'll make you pay, you bstrd." Naruto growled out as he brought his fist back before it lit on fire. Red Ha dash, Naruto was saying before an energy blast from Zemo's pistol hit him, sending Naruto flying to the ground next to Janet unconscious. Good to know energy-based weapons work on your RBB body, Zemo said as he got up and wiped his chin, and luckily for you I have other prey to end first, Zemo said before turning toward Steve and bringing his gun at the captain, who dodged the laser blast and sent a flying kick at said gun, disarming Zemo of his firearm before sending Zemo to the floor with his boot, pinning down the Hydra leader. Excellent. I was worried you wouldn't be as I remember you, Zemo told the glaring Captain America. I wouldn't want you to be anything less than perfect for this, Zemo told him before booting Steve off him and springing back onto his feet and kicking his sword up into his hand. All these years, I thought the Red Skull had defeated you. Now I can finally have my revenge. Zemo exclaimed with insane glee before charging the captain with his blade to impale him. Steve dodged out of the way of the blade only for Zemo to kick him in response. The two enemies circled each other trying to see the other's weaknesses. How are you still alive, Zemo? Steve demanded of the Hydra leader. Death means nothing to me, Zemo responded. I have evolved my body over the years while you remain as you ever were. Zemo told him before rushing at Steve and sending slashes in quick succession at the captain, even slicing the star symbol on his chest, to which Steve tried to punch him for only to be slashed again, falling to the floor in pain. You are alone, Captain. A relic in this world. Arnim Zola's creature will deal with your new friends. But you? Let the skull have Bucky. Your life is mine to take. Zemo yelled, leaping into the air and trying to impale the downed Steve. But before the blade could strike Steve, suddenly Steve's shield was thrown into its path and embedding itself into the wall, causing the blade to bounce off from the shield. Steve stood up and looked at his shield before he looked up at the rafters of the hallway and saw a figure in all black that looked like his outfit was designed like a panther. The figure leapt away as Steve put on his shield. Alright, sock face. You want to fight? You've got 1 inch, Steve told Zemo with a glare before rushing at the Hydra leader, blocking his sword swing before kicking Zemo in the gut, sending him skidding. Steve then spun and threw his shield, which Zemo ducked under before it bounced off the ceiling and hit the Baron in the back of his head, making him fall to the floor. Steve leapt onto Zemo as he hopped back onto his feet and the two entered a struggle with their respective weapons, only for Zemo to reach behind his back and pull out something. As he did this, Steve stabbed Zemo's sword into the wall and kicked it to pieces before slugging Zemo onto the floor. Give up, Zemo, Steve ordered as he looked down at his old foe. Never, Zemo said, this is my world and you don't belong in it. I may not know a lot about the future, but I know one thing about the past. You lost the war. You'll always lose. Whether I'm here or not, Steve told him as Zemo pulled out what looked like a remote and clicked a button on it before flinging it at the unconscious Naruto and Janet. Steve quickly ran at the unconscious heroes and jumped, using his shield to block the explosion from the detonator. All while an injured Zemo fled the scene as the explosion occurred. Oh my head. Where's Sock Boy? I'm mad and need an outlet, Naruto groaned as he got up along with Janet. What did I miss? Janet asked before seeing everything was on fire while what looked like robot drones flew in with fire extinguishers. I'll explain on the way. Your team is in trouble, Steve told her. Thank God for Jarvis, cause I did not want to explain why the place is on fire, Naruto said as he got up. So wanna explain how your punch can be on fire instead? Janet asked as they made their way to the elevator to the garage. Nope. Naruto told her with a grin. I need some secrets, my dear, he chuckled as they made their way to the hangar. Ellis Island. As Thor, Iron Man, and Ant-Man struggled to face off against Doughboy, Thor kept blasting the creature with lightning, which made it grow. Thor, stop. Electricity is making it grow. Ant-Man yelled from the living dough surrounding his body. This creature made from your earth science is worse than any monster I have faced. Thor yelled before he was swallowed up by the dough. Someone do something. Tony yelled as he struggled to escape the grasp of the dough before he was pulled back down. Before he was fully pulled back inside, a familiar shield cut him free from the Do grip and flew back towards its owner on the ramp of the Quinjet along with Wasp and Naruto. As Thor stopped summoning lighting, the Quinjet flew over them and stopped letting Wasp fly out, who started firing at Doughboy, making him yell in pain. Naruto meanwhile cracked his neck before he entered gear 2, save some for me Janet. Gum gum jet Gatling. Naruto yelled as he jumped down and started to punch at the giant mass of dough with hockey-infused punches. Janet's stingers and Naruto's hockey-infused hits started to weaken the giant glob of dough to the point Steve was able to pull Tony out of its clutches, while Hank and Thor also feed themselves. "Thanks," Tony told the captain as they flew to meet with the others. "We're not done, soldier. This is one of Arnim Zola's genetic freaks," Steve explained. "Zola. Of course," Hank said with a frown at this. "I should have recognized his work. That's why Wasp's stingers are so effective. They're bio-energy. Whatever it's made of, it screams like a wuss." Naruto yelled as he slugged Doughboy in the face, making it yell in pain. "Oh, shut up, you whiny bee," Naruto yelled before sending another punch. "And I'm guessing his hockey stuff is making it so he can hit him," Tony said as he made a note to bring Naruto on missions involving enemies like this. "I've studied some of Zola's creatures before. They all have a weakness. Instability," Hank explained, "and with the right energy signature we can accelerate that instability," Hank said before he started to turn knobs on his helmet, creating a sonic frequency that pushed back Doughboy and caused it to start screaming, "Iron Man. Modulate your repulsor. Match the energy signature my helmet is putting out." Hank yelled at the armored Avenger. "Jarvis, what?" he said. Tony ordered before his repulsor started to glow as Jarvis matched the frequency. Tony sent a large uni-beam down at the sentient mass of dough as Wasp, Naruto, and Hank held it at bay, effectively dispersing it from the island in one shot. "Victory is ours," Thor said as he looked to see himself covered in dough. "Hooray," Janet said sarcastically, also covered in dough. "Ah, no more. I was actually starting to have fun," Naruto said with a pout as Doughboy dispersed, leaving behind a large amount of dough. "You need a new hobby. You ever try video games?" Janet asked as she caught her breath. No. "Wait, no, I have not," Naruto said as people came out from hiding and started to cheer for the Avengers and Captain America, making the super soldier smile. Later on that night. Avengers Mansion. Bioengineered monsters, freaky ooze creatures, is that what it was like fighting evil in the 40s? Tony asked Steve as they and Naruto watched the news while in the meeting room. "No. Sometimes it got strange," Steve said with a smirk. "Ha. Good 1-inch," Naruto said with a grin, glad the soldier had a good sense of humor. "Did you just make a joke?" Tony asked with a smirk. "Captain America has a sense of humor." Tony grinned. "Don't get used to it, soldier," Steve said with a small chuckle, "and please call me Steve." Tony smiled as he stood up. "I found something. I want you to have it," Tony said before he handed Steve an old photograph of Steve, Bucky, and Howard Stark together. "Howard Stark," Steve grinned as he looked at the photo fondly. "My father. He looked up to you so much." "We all did." "We all do," Tony told Steve. "That was a long time ago," Steve admitted. "Thank you for the photo, Tony." "It's actually all I have now," Steve told him. "Hey, you got us now too," Naruto said as he drank some water. "He's right. You have a place here, Steve." With the Avengers, Tony held out his hand, which Steve shook. "Indeed I do. Now I would like to meet the rest of the team. I wish to thank the one who helped me beat Zemo, the one in the black catsuit," Steve said with a smile as he shook Tony's hand. "Wait, who?" Tony questioned, confused. "We recruited Black Cat." "Hello." Naruto yelled before he laughed at his joke before Janet zapped him in the back of his head. "DMN it, woman, that hurt." Naruto groaned. "Speaking of hurting, there is a letter for you, Mr. Joy Boy," Jarvis said as a robot drone carried a letter to Naruto. "Huh?" Naruto asked before he opened the letter. "That BSTRD senator is suing me?" Naruto yelled out loud as he threw the letter which Tony caught and looked at. Looks like you're gonna need a lawyer, Whiskers, Tony said as he read the letter, seeing that it was legitimate. Arnim Zola's lab. Zemo descended in an elevator down into the depths of the lab. Your creatures failed me, Arnim. In order to defeat Captain America, we must destroy the Avengers, Zemo said as he walked into the lab, only to be met with silence as a response. Arnim? Zemo questioned again as a green light formed behind him, revealing the Enchantress, Executioner, and Sasuke standing over an unconscious Arnim Zola. Baron Zemo, I have an offer for you, Amora told him as Zemo narrowed his eyes at the woman. Avengers Mansion. It had been 3 days since the incident with Doughboy and Baron Zemo. Naruto was in his room getting ready to go out into the city today. Mr. Joyboy, Mr. Stark is outside your room. Jarvis said. There's a thing called knocking, Tony. You could easily do that instead of having the hard-working AI announce your presence when you want to enter a room, Naruto said flatly as Tony entered. Yeah, but that's for people who don't have an amazing AI, Tony told him with a smirk. What's up, Tony? I don't want to be late to meet my friend, Naruto said as he grabbed his phone and his goggles and put them in his forehead. Yeah. I know. It's your day off unless there's a kaiju attack or something catastrophic, Tony waved it off. Tick-tock, Tin Man. I'm walking towards the door, Naruto said as he walked towards his bedroom door. Relax, RBB boy. I have a meeting at Stark Industries, so I won't keep you. I just have something for you may be interested in, Tony said as he handed Naruto a business card. Naruto took the offered business card and took a look at it. Matt Murdock, defense attorney, he asked curiously. He's a good lawyer. I've met him before. He runs a law firm called Nelson and Murdock Law, Tony explained. What did you do? Naruto asked with a smile, wondering how he knew a defense attorney. Nothing, you little, look, he's one of the best defense attorneys in the city and he could probably help you with your little problem with Kelly, Tony explained. With what money? Naruto asked curiously. I'll foot the bill, seeing as he's a legit attorney and won't lie for you from what I know. Besides, I can't exactly break you out of prison every time there's a giant monster or something attacking New York. It'd drain my suit's batteries, Tony told him with a smirk as Naruto sighed. Well, considering I don't have any money, I guess I have to do this. Naruto admitted, grateful to Tony for the help. Good, have fun with your friend today and don't do anything I would do and be home by curfew, Tony said with a smile as he walked out of Naruto's room. Curfew? I'm 21, you bstrd. Naruto yelled after Tony. I do believe he was kidding, Mr. Joyboy, Jarvis said. Oh, your joke, you bstrd. Naruto yelled after a moment. Mr. Joyboy, you have guests outside the gates wishing to see you, Jarvis said. Guests? As in plural? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. Yes, sir, one is being a bit forceful and won't tell me her name, Jarvis responded. I'm not giving my name to a machine. You just tell Naruto to get out here before I come in and get him. Laura was heard yelling over his intercom. Yeah, that's Laura, all right. Okay, tell her I'll be right out, Naruto said with a small chuckle as he walked out his room and soon went outside towards the gates. When he got there, he saw Laura in a black shirt, her leather jacket, and a pair of jeans glaring at Jarvis while 2 women stood behind her. Hey Laura. I didn't know you were bringing friends with you, Naruto said with a smile as the gates opened and let him pass before closing behind him. I wasn't. They abruptly decided to come with me, Laura said with a small amount of irritation. You know that we can't have any incidents, Laura. It's better you are accompanied, seeing as you are still new to the institute, the dark-skinned woman with white hair wearing a pair of jeans and a long-sleeved white t-shirt told her firmly. Besides, it was us or Logan Shuga. And I think we're the lesser of 2 evils. A woman with long brown hair with a white streak wearing a pair of black jeans with a green hoodie said with a southern drawl. Laura scoffed at this but nodded in agreement at this. These are Aurora Monroe, also known as Storm, and the other one is called Rouge, Laura introduced them. Yo. Nice to meet you too, I'm glad Laura has made some more friends, Naruto greeted with a smile. Acquaintances at best, Laura said flatly as she rolled her eyes at Naruto. Give it time. I can tell they're nice. We'll just need to work on your people skills is all Badger, Naruto said with a snicker making Laura's eyebrow twitch at the nickname. Ha! Funny and cute, no wonder you wanted to meet him alone, Laura, Rouge said as they all walked down the sidewalk. I can carve out your heart, Laura threatened as she held up her fist. Oh, relax, Laura. You don't have to go all kill crazy on friends. Naruto told her, placing a hand on her shoulders. Indeed, now where are we going? Ororo asked Naruto. Well, I have to meet with a lawyer at some point in Hell's Kitchen, but until then I'm down for whatever you all would like to do, Naruto said with a smile. Lawyer? Laura questioned with a raised eyebrow. Yeah, turns out slugging a senator in the face gets you sued. Go figure, Naruto shrugged with a grin. Laura scowled at this as her claws came out. I think you might want to keep those hidden, Badger, Naruto told her, seeing them come out since they were in public. I'll make them disappear inside of the senator's throat, Laura growled out. Or you could testify that Kelly provoked him, seeing as you were there, Rogue pointed out. Laura stopped growling at this before she sheathed her claws. I can do that too. I mean, he was talking SHT, but I don't think the court will believe that's provoking me, Naruto admitted. It's fine, we'll try the testify idea, and if it fails I'll slice the senator's skin off, Laura said as if talking about the weather. I think you guys need to help her get out of the kill them mentality, Naruto said to Ororo and Rogue. Would you believe this is actually better than when she first arrived? Rogue asked with a smirk. You're kidding me, right? Naruto asked curiously. Nope, she tried killing her dad and had to be knocked out mentally after she kicked several of our asses, Rouge said with a wince at the memory. I believe Bobby just returned to training yesterday after she broke his jaw, Ororo admitted. Punk as has a glass jaw, plus he shouldn't have called me thick, Laura grumbled out. Well, he's not wrong. I mean DMN, Naruto muttered under his breath. I can hear you, Laura told him flatly. SHT, was that not my inner thought? Naruto asked as he chuckled nervously. Okay, let's go see this lawyer Shuga. We don't want Laura giving you conjugal visits. Rouge said with a smile as she pulled Naruto along the sidewalk. I may kill her one day, Laura said flatly as Ororo sighed at Laura's anger issues and aggression. Hell's Kitchen. Naruto and his friends walked into a law office, and the first thing he saw was a young woman his age sitting behind a desk. She had brown hair tied up in a bun. She was wearing a black blazer over a white button-up shirt and a long black skirt with a set of black heels. On her desk was a nameplate with the name J. Walters. Hello, welcome to Nelson and Murdoch Law. Do you have an appointment today? The woman asked as she looked up from her desk, showing she had green eyes before she looked at Naruto surprised. No. I actually wish to stop in as I recently received a letter a few days ago that I'm being sued and my friend suggested I come here, Miss Walters, Naruto admitted. I take it you got the referral from Mr. Stark, Joyboy? Jennifer asked, recognizing the hero of the Avengers. Oh good, I don't need to worry about who I am then. Great. Anyways, I have a court summons in about 2 weeks. I've been trying to meet with lawyers, but every time I mention my name they scream, no way in hell, and then hang up. Well, you did slug a senator, Mr. Uzumaki, a male voice said, getting their attention as a man entered the lobby wearing a gray suit, a pair of red-tinted sunglasses, and holding a mobility cane. Sorry for the sudden guest, Mr. Murdoch, Jennifer said as she greeted the man. It's fine, Jennifer, and I told you to call me Matt. We're future colleagues even if you're an intern for now, Matt said with a smile as he didn't look at Jennifer. So you're not gonna help him? Laura asked as she scowled at the man. I never said that at all, Matt said. The way I see it, your friend most likely won't go to jail anyways, miss. If they did arrest him, then a war would probably start due to the high tensions between humans and mutants. On top of that, arresting a hero with backing from the other Avengers will also lead to negative consequences in the long run. Oh, he's good, Rouge whispered to Ororo, clearly impressed with Matt. Thank you, miss. Now Mr. Uzumaki, the most likely scenario if you lose is you'd have to pay a large fine and pay for damages to the senator should you lose the case, Matt explained. However, considering the senator's penchant for causing public distrust against mutants and mutant supporters, there's a slim chance of actually winning the case should we accept it, Matt explained. I see. Is there any way you guys would be willing to take the case? I'd rather have you guys get the money compared to a bigot senator, Naruto admitted. We have a new case. It's about time, we have bills, a male voice yelled as a man entered the office. He was an older man with a chubby face and brown hair. I'm seeing if the case is one we should take, Foggy, Matt responded. Oh wait, is that Joy Boy? The man named Foggy asked as he entered and looked at Naruto. Yeah, that's me, Naruto said as he stretched his cheeks for emphasis. Oh, we're so taking this case, Matt, Figgy said with a grin. You are? Naruto asked, surprised as he let go of his cheeks, causing them to snap back into place. We are? Jennifer asked, also surprised. Well, you seem to be a good person, Mr. Uzumaki, so I can see taking your case, Matt said as he nodded at this. Besides slugging that D-bag Kelly was awesome. Now about pay dash, Foggy was saying before he was cut off. Tony Stark agreed to pay for me. Forward the bills to him, Naruto said as he smiled at Foggy as he already liked this guy. This is the greatest day of my life, Foggy said with a big smile on his face. Very well, Mr. Uzumaki. Let's us go over your case, Matt said as he walked towards an office. And watch your step, there's a small puddle by the water cooler, Matt said as they followed him. The trio paused and looked down. How did he do that? Naruto mused to himself. I'm a really good lawyer. And I could hear the water escaping. Jennifer, can you call a cooler repairman when you have a moment? Matt asked his intern with a smile. Already did that, Matt, they should be here tomorrow, Jennifer said as she nodded. Good, that means you can assist me with Mr. Uzumaki's case. It'll be good practice. Foggy can clean up the water, Matt said as he led them into his office. Normally I would argue, but I agree, let the rookie get her feet wet. Meanwhile I'll also get my feet wet, Foggy joked as he went to grab some towels to soak up the leaking water. 1 hour later. Well, that was a lot of talking, Rogue said as her, Bororo, Laura, and Naruto exited the law offices. Hey, I'll take any help against that D-wad Kelly. Now where would you lovely ladies like to go? This is supposed to be a day to have fun after all. Naruto offered as he looked at them. Well, let's see. There was a karaoke club not too far from here, Bororo suggested. Not happening, Laura said with a firm tone. Oh, come on. That actually sounds like fun, Rouge said as she looked at Laura. You sure you don't want to do that? I'm sure you have an appealing singing voice, Naruto told Laura. Oh fine, but I reserve the right to lip sync, Laura said as she rolled her eyes. That's the best offer we're gonna get, huh? Naruto asked, getting a firm nod. Okay, let's go. Naruto exclaimed with a grin. Suddenly Naruto's pocket started shaking, and when he reached inside it he saw it was his Avengers badge. I gotta answer this. What is it, Janet? Is a giant monster attacking New York again? Naruto asked the card. Naruto, we need help, we were chasing AIM and we're at their base. Some weird floating head thing is trying to kill us and they're doing some crazy experiment or something. Get over here. Janet yelled over the card before an explosion sounded and the connection ceased. Looks like your friends need help, Suga, Rouge said as she frowned a bit at their plans being interrupted. Yeah, sorry ladies. We can do karaoke after I return if you want, Naruto offered. It's quite alright, would you like us to help you? Ororo asked. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this before he looked at Laura. They will be fine, they are X-Men. Besides, I have some pent-up aggression and this sounds like a great outlet, Laura said as she cracked her knuckles. Really? Only some pent-up aggression? Also they're women, so why are they X-Men? Naruto asked, confused at the name. Man as in humans dash, Ororo was saying before she was cut off. Is the team name really the thing you should be worrying about at the moment, Suga? And how are we gonna find your friends? Rogue asked flatly before she looked at Naruto. Right. The cards display our locations to each other. So follow me ladies and let's go kick some nerd ass. Naruto said with a grin as he raised his fist. Wish the professor would spring for tech, that good, Rouge said as she, Laura and Ororo followed after Naruto. With Janet and Thor. What the hell kind of bullshit tech is this? Janet yelled as she was trapped in a red bubble force field fired at her by a giant head on a flying chair with tiny arms and legs. This was M.O.D.O.K. Thor meanwhile was fighting off a bunch of men in yellow armor like hazmat suit and welding blasters. You two have interfered with our experiments. While you did assist us with your intrusion by helping us create a being made up of ionic energy, you cannot be allowed to live and hamper our future plans. M.O.D.O.K told Janet with a glare. You know it's impossible to take you seriously considering you look like a giant head on a baby's body, Janet smirked as she looked at M.O.D.O.K. Silence, interloper. M.O.D.O.K growled out and prepared to shrink the force field and crush Janet while Thor was being swarmed. Only for the laboratory to suddenly shake. Suddenly the wall above them was bashed open, making a hole as Naruto, Ororo, Rouge and Laura fell into the base, landing safely thanks to the wind cushion Ororo was making for Laura and Rouge, while Naruto fell a few feet away from them heading towards a horde of AIM soldiers. Knock knock bees. Naruto yelled as he pulled foot back as he fell and let it stretch high above him as he was above some of AIM soldiers. Gum gum battle axe, he shouted as he slammed his leg down on a group of AIM soldiers, sending them flying from the force of his attack. Hey, sorry for the wait guys. I brought some backup so you two can sit back and, what the hell is that? Naruto yelled, seeing M.O.D.O.K, oh god, it's sentient golden egg. Does Willy Wonka know you escaped his factory? Naruto asked M.O.D.O.K. Laura snorted at this as she stabbed one of the AIM soldiers before she kicked one in the chest, stabbing him with the blade from her foot. Fascinating. Claws like a lioness. I must use her for my experiments, M.O.D.O.K said, ignoring Naruto's joke. If you find Laura cool, wait until you see me, big head. Naruto yelled as he did stretches as some AIM soldiers approached him. You dare mock me? Exterminate him and his friends. Leave the claw girl alive. She will be a most useful tool. M.O.D.O.K ordered his soldiers. Your soldiers take one more step and they'll be in for a world of hurt, egghead. So I hope you provide them decent benefits, Naruto said as he glared at M.O.D.O.K. Why should I fear you? You are of no consequence to me. I am superior in every way, M.O.D.O.K told Naruto with a glare. You look like you were hit in the face with a hot shovel. Rouge said as she grabbed an AIM soldier and threw him into another one before taking his blaster and firing on his fellow soldiers. Ha! I like you, Rouge. Naruto laughed as he stretched his arm back. Behold my secret technique. Gum gum be slap. Naruto yelled before he sent a stretched backhand into each of the soldiers approaching him, slapping them all in their suited faces and sending them flying across the room as he spun around like a crazed cyclone of slaps. What is this? M.O.D.O.K asked as his scanners watched Naruto stretch his limbs. Your fancy science doesn't tell you. I'm a RBB man fatso. Everything is made of RBB. And before the ladies ask, yes it is, Naruto snickered as he stopped spinning. Must you be so vulgar? Ororo asked as she sent wind to blow away 3 AIM soldiers. It makes people laugh, so yes, Naruto said with a smile as he slugged an AIM soldier, sending him flying past M.O.D.O.K before he swung his leg around, slamming it into several soldiers behind him. A RBB body? That is asinine and foolish. Such a power would be utterly worthless to me, M.O.D.O.K said as he looked at Naruto. Yeah, well, I helped give Graviton a beatdown tumor head. Besides, you may think it's a dumb power, but at least I don't look someone face F a top graphical map of Utah, Naruto exclaimed with a cackle. This got laughs from Rouge, Laura, and Janet, who were fighting their own AIM soldiers. I don't understand. What is a Utah? Thor asked, confused as he finished with his own opponents. Enough of your blather. M.O.D.O.K yelled as he fired a red beam from his forehead at Naruto. Naruto though glared at M.O.D.O.K and moved to the side avoiding the blast thanks to his observation haki. You know that was very rude. We were having a nice, calm discussion before that laser. And now you've gone and annoyed me. So now in my head you work for Senator Kelly. What are you prattling on abo, ga? M.O.D.O.K yelled as a haki-infused fist suddenly smashed into his face. Unfortunately for you, I hate Senator Kelly, Naruto told M.O.D.O.K with a glare before, gum Gatling. Naruto yelled, sending a barrage of punches at M.O.D.O.K. Each haki-infused hit making M.O.D.O.K scream and grunt in pain as he was pummeled into a wall slowly destroying it as Naruto's barrage sent him through it. MSTR M.O.D.O.K, some of the AIM soldiers yelled as they ran over to their MSTR. This doesn't make sense, RBB shouldn't do this, M.O.D.O.K groaned as his men helped him up. Okay, let's put it in math terms. X is me whooping your peach you punk B. M.O.D.O.K scowled at this as he tapped a button on his chair, beginning self-preservation subroutine, M.O.D.O.K said typing on his chair as a metallic wall enclosed around the hole he was just sent through. Running away is a subroutine. Who knew computers were such cowardly bees? Naruto yelled as Thor flew over and slammed his hammer against the wall but it barely did anything. "'Tis a tough wall this mortal creature is using," Thor said as the base started to shake as debris started to fall around them. Storm, is this you?" Rogue asked as she looked. "No, it is not me," Ororo responded confused on why the base was shaking so much. "The entire base, it's a ship." Janet exclaimed as she looked up to see rocket-like engines on the ceiling coming down. "Man, would Hank love that," Janet said as she looked at the ceiling. "You should all probably leave before the engines incinerate the flesh from your bones," Laura said as the engine started to turn on with bright orange flames. "Thor, make an exit." Naruto yelled as he grabbed Laura and Rouge and jumped out a window. Thor immediately threw his hammer through a nearby wall of the building and made a large hole which Ororo and Janet flew out of just as the rocket base blasted off into the sky. Naruto landed on a nearby rooftop across from the AIM base watching as the building collapsed around it. Suga, thanks for the save, but you should put me down before you dash," Rogue suggested as Thor, Janet, and Ororo flew over to them. "Why? Are you hurt?" Naruto was asking as he put Laura and Rouge down, and as he was doing this his hand touched Rouge's bare arm. Aqua the dash. Naruto let go of Rogue's arm as he felt something being drained from his body as well as a piercing pain in his head. Rogue held her head a bit as flashes of Naruto's memories filled her head. Flashes of a humanoid kitsune, a woman with red hair, a man with similar blonde hair becoming light itself, a teen girl with red hair becoming what looked like some kind of white-furred werewolf with ice covering her claws. "Rogue, are you okay?" Ororo asked as she held her friend's shoulder. "What was that?" Janet asked confused as Rogue shook her head and slowly stood up. "She can drain the life force and powers of whoever she makes skin contact with. In some cases she also sees the memories of those she touches." Laura said as she shook her head. "Yeah, and I gotta say you have seen some weird stuff." Suga, who's the redhead with the fox powers. "She screams crazy," Rogue asked only to see Naruto passed out. "Huh? I didn't drain him that long, did I?" Rogue asked worriedly. "Naruto? Naruto, get up," Janet tried to shake him awake. Snore. "Ramen bikinis," Naruto muttered in his sleep. Janet's eyebrow twitched at this before she zapped Naruto on the forehead. "Gah! What the hell, Janet?" Naruto groaned out as he shot to his feet holding his head. "Focus, you moron, we have to go help Tony," Janet yelled at Naruto. Indeed, the creature the one known as M.O.D.O.K created said he had business with Stark. "I swear by the All-Father Earth scientists are not to be trusted," Thor said nodding in agreement with Janet. "Got that right," Naruto and Janet said simultaneously at Thor. "Normally I don't really care about Stark, but seeing as he's your friend I can see helping him out for you, Whiskers," Laura said as she looked at Naruto. "If Laura is going to assist you then I shall as well," Ororo said firmly. "Okay, let's go, Rouge, I'll carry you, but keep the skin contact to a minimum," Naruto said as he approached her. No need, watch this. Rouge said with a smile as she ran at the edge of the rooftop, and as she jumped she pulled her arm back and her arm stretched before she swung her arm and grabbed a nearby rooftop and swung off down the street. How's that, Suga? Rogue yelled back at Naruto as she looked over her shoulder with a smile. That's hot, Naruto said without thinking. Laura growled at this before she unsheathed her claws and poked her claw into Naruto's ass cheek, making him yelp. Gawk later whiskers. Laura told him definitely not jealous whatsoever. Why would you think such a thing? With Tony. Underneath Stark Tower, on the streets, Tony was struggling in his fight against what looked like a man made out of purple energy by the name of Simon Williams. Please, Simon. I just want to talk. Tony tried to tell the man before a purple fist struck his unarmored face. Just as the man was about to lay a beatdown on Tony, Hank showed up and slammed his palms down to grapple. Tony, run. Please stop what you're doing, Simon. I know Tony probably deserves this, but violence won't solve anything. Hank tried to plead with the transformed being. Only for Simon to break free of Hank's grip and send him away. Suddenly the street burst apart from a falling force, kicking up dust as a figure shot at them. Gum Gum Rocket. Rouge yelled as she slammed into Simon, sending her and Simon away from Tony. Did RBB boy become a chick? Tony asked, confused at the sight. Nah, my Auntie Shizen wouldn't do that to me again. Naruto said as he and the others arrived. Say what? Tony asked with a raised eyebrow. Anyway, I made some new friends, Naruto said just as an older motorcycle pulled, revealing Steve driving it. Where'd he get a motorcycle? Why don't I have a motorcycle? Naruto asked, confused. You have a license, son? Steve asked as he looked at Naruto. No, I don't, Naruto said with a shrug. That's why. Stark, what's the situation? Steve asked. Whiskers brought back up, and we're dealing with a man made up of ionic energy with a grudge against me. Tony explained. Okay, I have a plan. I suggest we hit him. Really hard, Naruto suggested. Already doing that, Suga, but he keeps getting up. Rogue yelled as she kept slugging Simon, but he kept getting up and walking towards her with an annoyed look on her face. Huh, guess you didn't get my hockey training, guess I'll have to step in. Naruto yelled as he shot at Simon, his fist going black as his arm stretched back. Gum Gum. Another RBB freak? You won't be able to damage dash, Simon was saying before a blackened fist clocked into his face. Pistol. Naruto yelled as he slugged Simon in the face hard with his hockey-infused fist, sending the man flying into a nearby building. Ha! Punk as is just like a Logia back home with a glass jaw to boot. Naruto yelled before he started to laugh loudly. Naruto, stop attacking him. I'm sure we can talk this out. Hank yelled as he approached. Not that I like Stark, but he looked ready to kill him to me, and trust me, I know when someone has murder in his eyes, Laura said as she looked at Hank. Okay, ow, Tony said, a bit offended at this. Oh, lighten up, Tony. If you had $1 for every woman you angered, you'd double your net worth, Naruto said. Stay alert, friends, he's coming back for another bout, Thor said as he readied his hammer as Simon burst out of the building he was in, only now he was giant. Stark. Simon growled out in a rage, only for his body to suddenly shrink back down as energy started to waft off his body in large quantities. What's wrong with him? Ororo asked curiously. His energy. It's destabilizing. Hank yelled in realization. Huh? Naruto asked as he tilted his head to the side in confusion. He can't stay together, Janet said, keeping it simple for him. Why can't you scientists just say that DMN it? Naruto asked as he already felt a headache coming. We need to save him. Tony said as he started thinking to himself, training to find a solution. Tony, I'm not sure we can. Look at the ions. He's too far, Hank was saying before Naruto cut him off. Okay, you have gotten on all of our cases for approaching things with a punch villains in the face, first ask questions never mentality, and how you always want to solve things peacefully. And now you're given the opportunity to save a dying villain in you. I'm just being a realist dash, Hank was saying before he was again cut off. No, you're giving up and that's a bunch of CRP. You may be a huge pain in the ass for me at times but you're probably the smartest person I know. Now please use your brain for something else besides finding something to complain about Hank. Naruto yelled at Hank. Hank looked annoyed at this but didn't say anything before he started to think. We need a way to contain him so his ion energy doesn't escape. We need a way to stabilize it, Hank said. I've got it, Tony said looking over towards his building. RBB boy, RBB girl. Grab him and follow me. Tony yelled at Naruto and Rogue. You got it. Naruto and Rouge shouted as they wrapped their stretched arms around Simon and followed after Tony, who smashed through the wall of his own building to make an entrance to the arc reactor in Stark Industries. While the two RBB people brought Simon along, he struggled as his energy continued fluctuating. No. This is all I have left. Simon shouted as the two dragged him towards the arc reactor. It's not worth dying for, you idiot. Rouge yelled. What do you know? You were born with power. You've never known weakness. You wouldn't know what it's like to be cursed with weakness. Simon growled out as Naruto's hockey-infused arm kept him from releasing his power. God, you sound like Sasuke's punk as dad, Naruto grumbled as he dragged Simon. Okay, we can put him into the arc reactor and that will keep his energy from escaping until I can figure out how to turn him back. It's the only way to keep him alive. Tony yelled. No. You're not turning me back right when I was this close. Simon yelled as he tried to gather more of his power but found himself groaning in pain. Will you goddamn listen for once? You're breaking apart. You won't get your revenge anyway cause your body's too far gone. You'll vanish. You wanna attack Tony? Fien, save it for after we make sure you don't die. Naruto yelled at him. Simon groaned as he struggled against his and Rogue's arms and soon his hands actually broke off, causing more of his energy to leak out. Get him in now. Tony yelled as he could see Simon was disintegrating. Having a problem here. Rogue yelled as her arm stiffened up before it let go of Simon and shot back to her side, back to normal as her powers were wearing off. Rogue. SHT. Hang on, man. I'm not giving up on you, DMN. Naruto yelled, but he wasn't fast enough, moving Simon to the arc reactor as the ionic being vanished like dust on the wind. Breaking down. Naruto frowned at this as his arm snapped back to his side. DMN. Are you happy now, Tony? Hank asked as he approached Tony. I didn't want this. I bought his company to save it, Hank. He was doing good work and I wanted to work with him. He had brilliant ideas in development. I wanted to save what he built. Tony yelled before he looked down at the floor in sadness. All I wanted to do was help him. Nice job prejudging, Hank, Naruto said with a scowl. Hey, Hank was saying before Naruto cut him off. Save it, something you should know about me. I like to get all the facts before I open my mouth. Even if I'm not the smartest, I at least listen. Tell me, did you ever once let Tony explain what he was doing? Or did you just judge him the whole time? Naruto asked. Hank said nothing to this as he hadn't let Tony talk. That's what I thought, Naruto said before he walked past everyone. I need to leave for a bit, he said, walking past everyone out of Stark Industries. Take all the time you need, son, Steve said as he could see Naruto wasn't used to losing people he was trying to save. Naruto nodded before he leapt out the hole onto a rooftop nearby. I was too weak to save him. I wasn't fast enough. I wasn't strong enough. DMN. Naruto thought in frustration as he punched a wall, leaving a dent. Villain or not, this whole situation could have been avoided. And I could have done something to help if I wasn't so weak. Some hero I am, Naruto muttered. Later that night, Stark Industries. In front of the arc reactor, wisps of purple energy started to reform back into Simon Williams. What? I'm alive. What's happening to me? he asked looking down at his hands. You are indeed alive, Mr. Williams, a female voice said as Amora, the executioner, Sasuke, and Baron Zemo walked towards the ionic energy-made being, so long as my magic allows it. I've brought you back as a gift for my beloved as well as for a favor. One simple task I ask of you. Destroy the Avengers except for Joy Boy. He is mine, Amora told him as Simon looked at her before his face narrowed in determination. Still don't see why you have interest in that pathetic loser, Sasuke said only for Amora to clench her hands into fists at Sasuke's words. Next day. Naruto was at the Xavier mansion as he had decided to hang out there with Laura for a few days. Thankfully the leader, Charles Xavier, and the rest of his X-Men had been more than welcoming to him, though he could swear Logan was giving him the stink eye when he was with Laura. Currently he was in the living room of the mansion watching TV trying to get his mind of what happened with Simon. You want to talk about it, Suga? Rogue asked as she sat down on the couch. No, I don't. I want to watch my show, Naruto said firmly. You're watching a cartoon cat chase a mouse, Laura said with an even tone as she approached them. Hey, it's funny. And uplifting, Naruto said simply. Yeah, Tom and Jerry is a classic, Rouge said with a chuckle. Never admittedly saw it before, but hey, I figured why not give it a try, Naruto shrugged. What exactly was your childhood like? Rogue asked curiously. Remote village in Japan. We didn't really watch TV or video games there. We hunted, trained, and held combat tournaments. Naruto admitted. Sounds like my kind of place, Laura said with a chuckle. Sounds like a drag, Rogue admitted. Well, we did keep up with some tech from the outside world, but some of the big brains improved tech you had. We had TV, but it was more for news in case stuff needed to be known to our village from the outside world. Other than that, it was mostly training our skills up and helping the village thrive, Naruto explained. Sounds like a place I could get a good scrap from, Logan said as he entered the room drinking a beer. Oh, it is everyone there has a power. My mom could turn into a kitsune for instance, Naruto explained. Yeah, I saw that in your memories. I'm guessing the guy turning into light was your dad? Rouge asked curiously. Yup, that's him, fastest fighter in the village. Naruto said with a smile. Who's the small version of your mom who was turning into some kind of werewolf? Rouge asked as she had told Naruto she had seen flashes of his memories. Ah, that's my little sister. Akane Uzumaki, she can turn into what's called Okuchi no Makami or Divine Wolf. She's slightly less crazy than my mother, I guess. She once beat up 3 men with a whole fish. I still don't even know where she got the fish to this day, Naruto said with a smile. Your village sounds bizarre, Laura admitted. True, but it's home, Naruto admitted with a smile. Maybe I should head back for a bit, Naruto mused. What, because of the end to your last rescue attempt? Logan asked with a raised eyebrow. Kid, let me give you some advice. Move on. If you dwell on everyone you can't save, you'll never be able to help the ones you can, Logan said as he took a swig of his beer. Logan. Storm hissed as she entered the room. What? You know I'm right. You're all just too afraid to talk about it in an attempt to coddle the BRT. I don't play that CRP though. The dead have no say in the affairs of the living. And dwelling on it only drags you down, Logan said. It's fine, Ororo, he's right. I may as well use this experience to learn and try to do better, Naruto said as he nodded at Logan in gratitude. Plus I think this may be your memories talking, but if you went home I think your mom would kick your ass for coming home for this, Rouge said as she looked at Naruto. I don't need to see any more bears with chainsaws, Naruto shuddered. Well, if you're up for a mission with the Smen, we are getting an SOS signal, Charles said as he wheeled in. Sounds good to me. Where are we heading? Naruto asked as he got up. You, Storm, Rogue, and X-23 shall be heading to the Savage Lands. If you wish to bring the other Avengers you may for assistance, Charles said as he wouldn't turn down any extra help. Sorry, Professor. As much as I'd like to bring them in, I can't have them leave New York undefended. I'll let them know I'll be helping you guys out though, Naruto told him. Plus this is a SOS. I don't think we need more than the 4 of us, Professor Rouge said as she shook her head. Very well, do be careful then you 4, Charles said before wheeling away while Naruto and his friends got ready to leave. All while Logan glared at him as Naruto was gonna be in the savage lands with his daughter. Alone. Yeah, he may have to stab the BRT through his eye. Earlier in Genosha. Wanda, Mystique. I have a task for you 2-inch Magneto said sitting upon his metal throne looking at his daughter and his right-hand woman. What's the task, father? Wanda asked with a serious tone. I have received word from one of our informants that a group of United States government agents has snuck into the savage lands. Normally such a thing would be beneath my care, however these particular agents work for William Stryker. A name I'm sure you're familiar with, Mystique, Magneto said as Mystique scowled, end them and determine why they entered the savage lands. If there are any fellow mutants, see if they can be convinced to join us in Genosha, Magneto ordered as the 2 women nodded before heading off. Savage lands. Inside a dense forest near some mountains, a white jet with what looked like 4 symbol had just recently crashed, and what looked like a woman with blonde hair, a young man with blonde hair, and what looked like a giant man made out of stone were making their way out of the crashed jet. These were Susan, Johnny, and Ben of the Fantastic Four. Well, the rescue beacon is set up, Susan said with a sigh as she walked away from the setup beacon she just finished setting up with Ben. You okay, sis? Johnny asked concerned. Course she's not, Johnny. Reed sacrificed himself so we could escape from doom and we ended up stranded here, Ben said as he scowled at the mention of their enemy. I'll be fine, Johnny. I just need some time, she sighed before she heard crying coming from nearby. I should check on him, Sue said as she walked inside the jet. Go ahead, sis, we will stand guard for now, Johnny said as he nodded. Thanks, guys. Come here, Franklin. Mommy's here, she said as she walked over to the jet and pulled out a blonde infant wrapped in a blue blanket. As she called her child, the 3 heroes didn't notice what looked like a pair of yellow eyes watching them from inside the jungle. And attached to these yellow eyes was what looked like a crimson-red T-Rex which watched the heroes for a bit before it scampered off into the jungle. X-Jet. Naruto, Rogue, and Laura were sitting in their seats in the X-Jet while Ororo drove the X-Jet. Still think I should be able to drive, Naruto said as he pouted a bit. Stark warned us on letting you fly, Ororo deadpanned as she focused on steering. Nark, Naruto grumbled under his breath before he took a breath, so what's this savage land like? Naruto asked as he looked at Rouge. It's a prehistoric, tropical area within the Antarctic. It is very hot and humid, so wear light and breathable outfits, Ororo warned. I heard prehistoric, please say that means dinosaurs, Naruto said with a grin as he smiled at this. No, you can't have a dinosaur, Laura said firmly as she looked outside a window at the snow outside. But Naruto was saying till Rogue cut him off. Not happening, Shuga, she deadpanned. But what if Naruto was saying but Ororo cut him off. No, Naruto, she told him as she flicked a SWCH on the jet. Buzzkills. Naruto grumbled, okay, what else is here? Aside from dinosaurs I can't take, what else is there? Naruto asked as he changed the subject. Several mutant tribes, various ruins and mines. Multiple predators that can kill even strong mutants and heroes. I believe Deadpool described it once as the place superheroes go to die, Rogue explained. Indeed. Danger lurks within the lands. Especially Sauron, Storm explained. Wait. Sauron. Dark Lord Sauron. Lord of the Rings Sauron. He exists. Oh God, we're all gonna die to orcs. Naruto yelled as he stood up out of his seat. Before Laura slapped him in the back of his head. Wrong, Sauron Suga. Thankfully this one doesn't have as much street cred, Rouge told him. Indeed though, do not underestimate him. His has many abilities at his disposal such as flight via his wings, hypnosis, telekinesis, a flame breath, incredible strength, energy blasts, and even temporary mutant power absorption like Rogue here. Though his way is by absorbing their power briefly by absorbing someone's life force. Ororo explained as she made a holographic image of what looked like a green humanoid pterodactyl appear for everyone to see. What's his backstory? Someone hatch him out of the wrong egg? Wait, did his dragon parents kick him out after a rough divorce? Naruto asked with a smirk. Before anyone could answer, the jet suddenly started to shake as a blast of energy suddenly hit the jet, making it shudder. It's Sauron. He must have absorbed enough energy to expel it at us. He's most likely hoping to force us out of the air and absorb our life force energy, Ororo yelled as she tried to keep the jet stable before another blast of energy hit one of the wings and made the jet start to nosedive. Save us, Gandalf! Naruto yelled as the jet careened and crashed down into the savage lands. Later everyone was inside a prehistoric forest outside the X-jet. Naruto was passed out after the crash while the others were awake. Is everyone alright? Ororo asked. Whiskers is knocked out after the rough landing, Laura said as she pointed at Naruto who was laying on the ground. Well, wake him up, we need to make repair plans, Rogue said. Ugh, watch out, Jerry, Tom's gonna get you, Naruto groaned after Laura shoved him a bit to attempt to wake him up. Oh, for F's sake, Laura groaned before she kicked Naruto hard in the head with the tip of her talon. Gah! What the hell? Naruto yelled, grabbing at his now bleeding head. Welcome back to the world of the living, Shuga, Rogue said as she shook her head at this with a smirk. Good, you're up. Now STRP, Laura told him. I don't think this place is a good idea to do such a thing, Laura, Naruto said with a nervous chuckle before Laura threw what looked like some clothes into his face. You wish, Whiskers. We told you that you'd need to dress in lighter gear on the jet. We got clothes for you. Now STRP, Laura ordered him. Alright. Can I at least get some privacy? Naruto asked as he gave Rouge a look. What, and missed the show, Shuga? Rogue asked with a teasing smirk. Before Laura walked past her and grabbed her by the back of her shirt and dragged her behind the X-jet to change as well. Ororo meanwhile was surveying the damage to the jet. She was already wearing what looked like a black cloth top with one shoulder strap and a black skirt with long beads. Good, you two should change before you start to get heat slide. We're gonna be here for a while. Sauron did far more damage than I anticipated. It's reparable, but the wing was torn clean off. We can't repair the jet until the wing is found within the Savage Lands. Ororo explained. So we're stranded here until we can find the wing then? Rogue asked as she started to STRP off her jumpsuit and SWCH into a yellow and green top and shorts that showed off her figure. We'll be fine. We can always contact the professor for an extraction team if needed. Until then we can simply search for the Fantastic Four and the wing of the jet, Laura said as she STRPP'd before putting on a black tube top and a pair of black shorts that also showed off her figure. Alright, I'm changed. Are you three decent? Naruto called out from his area around the down jet. Yeah, we're fine, Shuga, Rogue called out as Naruto approached them from around the jet. Gone was his shirt, pants and overcoat, replaced by a single pair of tight, red shorts and his sandals. Showing off his chiseled chest as if it was sculpted from marble itself. Dear God, you could grind meat on those abs, Rogue said, licking her lips at the sight before her. Back off, Laura growled, lowly, feeling possessive. Are you open to teaming up on him? A man that fine could probably take us both, especially with his RBB powers affecting every part of him. Every part, Rouge whispered to Laura, who paused at this before she blushed a little. What about your skin? Laura whispered back. Always a catch, Rouge said as she snapped her fingers. So what's the damage? Naruto asked Ororo, unknowing of Rogue and Laura's whispered conversation. The wing was torn clean off by Sauron's attack. We can't leave until we find the missing wing within the Savage Land, Ororo explained as she kept her eyes at Naruto's eye level. Though she smirked seeing that Naruto was trying to not leer at her. He was failing, mind you, but A for effort. Got it. I can go take a look around the immediate area if you want. See if the wing fell nearby, Naruto suggested. Appreciated, but you shouldn't go alone. Take Rogue with you. Myself and Laura can stay here and guard the jet for now. Ororo told him, as Laura could help sniff out incoming threats, and they couldn't exactly leave the damaged X-jet to be damaged further by predators, dinosaurs, indigenous tribes, or anything else within the savage lands. Alright, Naruto said as he nodded at Rogue, who followed him. Laura meanwhile looked at Ororo, whose gaze was currently fixated on Naruto's rear as he walked away. Heh, so you aren't above checking someone out, Laura said as she chuckled a bit. You're imagining things, Laura, Ororo said simply, not looking at Laura as she responded, tearing her gaze away from Naruto as she went back to check on any more damage to the X-jet. With Naruto and Rogue walked side by side through the massive, tropical forest land as they searched for the missing wing of the X-jet. That wing's gotta be around here somewhere, Naruto muttered, as there was no way they could miss a giant black wing for a jet laying on the ground. While it may be noticeable, it could also be anywhere within the savage lands. Rogue pointed out. I could probably get a better look around if we could find a place to get a lay of the land, Naruto said as he looked around for any place to climb. I have an idea. Follow me, Rogue said as she approached a nearby tree and started to climb up it. Naruto following after her by stretching and leaping to the top. With this view we can probably find a higher up area. Like that mountain with a waterfall over there, Rogue pointed out. Hold it, Naruto said as he looked at where she was pointing and let his observation haki senses reach out around him. There looks to be one person within that area, Naruto said as he looked at the area. Makes sense, that's a good place to set up camp and keep an eye out for predators. Close to a water source for survival as well. Rogue said, agreeing with him. And said person seems friendly. Or at least neutral. Regardless, we should tread carefully and wait. I just picked up several more people. Not at the waterfall but entering a cave in the mountain. Looks to be about 20 people. Naruto said. Friend or foe? Rogue asked as they climbed down the tree. They don't feel like friendlies, but that's not what's feeling weird. There's something off attacking them, but it feels unpredictable and chaotic. I can't explain it, Naruto said as he rubbed his eyes. Huh? Rouge asked curiously. Normally my observation haki can give me a reading on if someone is hostile and what they are gonna do, but whatever is attacking this group of non-friendlies is obscuring my haki. It's not cancelling it like some people with observation haki can do, but it is obscuring it enough for me to be unable to see anything. Naruto informed her. Well, if it's nearby, let's take a look and see what's going on, Rogue said as they approached the mountain. Grab on. I'll slingshot us up to the cave, Naruto told her. You know my skin will drain you, right? Rogue reminded him. I have a theory I want to test. If it fails, we both have my stretching powers to get up there. If it succeeds, then I may have an idea for your powers in terms of touching people, Naruto told her. Rogue raised an eyebrow at this but watched as the skin on his upper body suddenly became blackened like metal via his armament haki. Rogue gave a test touch to his back and her eyes widened as he didn't flinch from her touch. He didn't feel it. She could touch him like this. Ha! It worked. Naruto laughed as he scooped Rouge up into his arms and launched himself towards the mountain. Perfect, I'll get my man yet, Rouge thought with a smile as she felt there was some hope now for touching him since he could clearly negate her touch with his haki. They soon found a cave entrance, and as they approached it they heard what sounded like people yelling and what sounded like gunfire. Quick hide, Rogue whispered as she and Naruto hid behind a boulder. Bang! Bang! Bang bang bang! So can you two babes give me a ride out of here now? A male voice yelled amongst the gunfire as he looked at Mystique and Wanda, who were watching this nearby. We didn't ask you for your help, Deadpool, Mystique said with a flat tone. Ah, come on baby. Where's the love for the merc with a mouth? I'm Cece and I know it after all, Deadpool said before he shot a man in his knee as he tried to sneak up behind Deadpool. The love went to the sun and was incinerated, you buffoon, Mystique deadpanned. Hurtful blue. You need to get laid from your future boy toy soon. Deadpool said. And there he goes speaking nonsense, Wanda said as she sighed at the mad mercenaries rambling. I am not crazy. Mama Wilson had me tested. Deadpool yelled as he shot a guy attacking him. She should have had you spayed and neutered instead, Mystique deadpanned. Wow, is every version of you such a bee in the multiverse? I mean, at least the live-action movie version is hot and naked, though the one played by Katniss could be out-acted by a plank of wood, Deadpool said as he shot the last man in the face. Who the hell are these people? Naruto asked Rogue, who frowned. A meeting I wished not to have here, and also Deadpool. We should leave before that moron gives away our location, Rogue said with a frown. Moron? I perfect the term quirky now, what are we hiding from? Deadpool asked as he appeared behind them. Nutcracker. Naruto yelled, startled, sending a stretch kick into Deadpool's junk. Mama no. Deadpool yelled as he was sent flying out of the caves into the trees outside. Next time don't startle me, you ass. Naruto yelled, grabbing his chest and trying to calm his heart. You may as well come out from the rock now, Wanda said as she readied her chaos magic in her hands. Do what she says. We may still be able to get out of here without a fight, Rogue sighed as she stepped out of from behind the rock with Naruto, their hands up to show they weren't a threat. Well, now this is a surprise. The young mutant who punched Senator Kelly and my daughter, Mystique said with a smile. Adopted, Rogue said with a hard tone as she held her hands up. Oh, still in your rebellious phase, I take it. You used to be such a good girl, Mystique said as she sighed. Oh, I'll show you rebellion, you old bit dash, Rogue was saying before Naruto placed a hockey-covered hand on her shoulder to placate her. Rouge enough, we're not here to start a fight with the king of can openers smuff squeeze, Naruto said as he grabbed Rogue's shoulder to stop her while Mystique's eye twitched. Gahahahahaha. I love this guy. Deadpool yelled as he teleported back into the cave, sitting on a rock behind them. Gah. Gum gum pistol. Naruto yelled, punching the merc in the face. Ouchie. Can you stop hitting me, please? Deadpool groaned as he slammed into the dirt wall. Stop sneaking up on us then. F teleporters. Naruto yelled, grabbing his chest again. I believe this conversation is devolving. Let's all state what we're doing here and be on our way. You are clearly not here to fight us, and we have no quarrel with you too. Especially the one who punched that bigot senator, Wanda stated. At least one of you is clearly mature. We're here looking for the Fantastic Four who sent out an SOS signal, Naruto told them. Ah, that explains it. They are allies to the X-Men and the Avengers despite their relatively new formation. So that explains why Joy Boy of the Avengers is here with you, Mystique said, taking a calming breath after Naruto's insult, and for the record, I am not involved with Magneto in that way, Mystique told Naruto with a firm tone. And the teleporter over there is mentally sound, try again Neytiri, Naruto said as he gave Mystique a look that said he wasn't buying this. Chimichangas. 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 Deadpool started to repeat to himself, bouncing in his seat on a rock. She is telling the truth. She is not romantically involved with my father. Wanda said simply. Why would I care about that? Naruto asked as he tilted his head to the side, confused. Denied. You have officially hit the wall. Deadpool yelled as he pointed at Mystique. Before she jumped and kicked him hard in the head, snapping his neck. Ignoring the mercenary, since you have been candid with us, we may as well tell you our reason for being here. We were sent by my father to take out some mercenaries working for Colonel William Stryker, Wanda said as she folded her arms. Stryker? Naruto asked, looking at Rouge with an inquiring look, seeing her scowl at the name. He's a mutant-hating bigot. He has his funds in several mutant-hating groups such as the Purifiers and the Weapon X program, Rogue said with bitterness. Heal. Deadpool yelled as he held his arm out in a salute for emphasis. Ah, that explains the kill shots. Why are his men here? Naruto said as he nodded and looked at Wanda. Unknown. We were tasked with finding out. We saw them mining some ore from this mine when Deadpool showed up demanding a ride and blowing our hiding spot as we planned to take them down. Then you arrived to see the end result of that. Mystique explained. How the hell did you end up in the Savage Land, Wade? Rouge asked as she looked at the mad mercenary. Well, my Southern Belle, it's a very long story, Wade said before going silent. Wanna hear it? He asked, seeing them waiting for him to speak. Summarize it, you moron, Mystique said, cutting him off. Author Sama needed someone who could name drop the next cameo, and he settled for me. In exchange I'm getting some ladies down the line that aren't with Mr. 12 women here, Deadpool said, pointing at Naruto. Huh? Naruto asked as he looked at Wanda, bewildered at this. Wade's a little eccentric, Wanda said as she paused to find the right word. You mean a gibbering moron, Rogue and Mystique said simultaneously with flat tones before looking at each other. Suddenly they heard a loud roar outside, making everyone jump in surprise. That came where we left Aurora and Laura. Rogue yelled as she ran towards the cave exit. That's my cue. Let's go meet your future buddy RBB boy. Deadpool yelled as he ran after Rouge. Wait for me. Goodbye, you two. Stay out of trouble. Naruto yelled, dashing after them, leaving Wanda and Mystique baffled at what was happening before their eyes. Should we help them? Wanda asked Mystique, who shook her head. As interested as your father is in Joy Boy for our cause, we have to get back and report to him on our mission success. Mystique told the Scarlet Witch. I understand, but if father has an interest in him, would it not be beneficial to make sure he is unharmed from whatever is attacking? Or to make sure he doesn't get himself killed? Wanda pointed out. A fair point. Very well. Let us go after them, Mystique said in acceptance as the two exited the cave following the sounds of the loud roar. With Laura. Laura stood in front of the X-Jet. Her claws out as what looked like a crimson-red Tyrannosaurus growled as it towered over her and the X-Jet. I don't fear you, beast. Laura growled back, a glare on her face as lightning shot from the sky. Leave and you may be spared, T-Rex, Aurora ordered, floating above the jet, her eyes glowing white as a storm cloud flew above her. The crimson T-Rex roared back in a challenge. Unafraid. Hey, at least you're not a coward. I'll be sure to remember you after I take a claw as a trophy, Laura said as she readied herself for battle. Laura, Aurora, we're here. Rouge yelled as her and Naruto ran into the area with Deadpool close behind. Oh God, not you, Laura said, scowling as she spotted Deadpool. Hey, if it ain't my favorite niece from Logan's many spawn. How's the rest of his kids? Deadpool asked. What's going, T-Rex? Dibs on fighting it. Naruto yelled before stretching his arms back, Gum Gum Bazooka. Naruto yelled, slamming his palms into the red T-Rex's body and sending it skidding across the ground. Hey, he's my prey, Whiskers. Laura yelled. Too slow, Mini Logan. Devil Dinosaur vs. Joy Boy. Fight. Deadpool yelled as he waved his hands in the air. Naruto smirked as the now named Devil Dinosaur stood up and roared at Naruto, not deterred from his attack. Hey, Devil Dinosaur, eh? You would make an awesome pet, Naruto said as he cracked his knuckles. Devil Dinosaur snarled as his attention turned to this newcomer. Roaring at Naruto before he charged at him. Naruto smirked as he coated his fist in armament hockey. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Gum Gum Red Hawk. Naruto yelled, sending a fire fist at the dinosaur who, to Naruto's surprise, took the hit without issue. The T-Rex just continued to charge at Naruto. He can tank a Red Hawk. Awesome. Naruto laughed as he leapt into the air to avoid a bite from the beast. Missed me. Naruto laughed, pulling his eyelid down, making a face at the T-Rex. Devil Dinosaur growled at this before he stomped his feet in anger before charging at Naruto again. Same trick didn't work before, Dudwo. This time when the T-Rex got close, however, he stopped and swung his tail at Naruto, who took the hit and was sent flying into a tree which he bounced off of. This caused Devil Dinosaur to tilt his head in confusion, seeing this, as he had expected this to hurt the human. Sorry buddy. Everything is made of RBB, Naruto chuckled, seeing the confusion. And before your two future squeezes that just joined us ask. Yes. Yes it is, Wade said as Mystique and Wanda arrived to watch the fight. The hell are you on about? Mystique asked Wade in irritation. Hey, quit stealing my line, you bstrd. Naruto yelled at Wade. Before Devil Dinosaur chomped down on him, causing his legs to stuck out of his mouth, which started to kick in a panic. Murayara. The muffled screams of Naruto echoed. Should we stop this? Wanda asked, genuinely concerned. Let me out, DMN. Naruto yelled in a panic as he unleashed some Conqueror's Haki at the Devil Dinosaur. Devil Dinosaur froze suddenly as Naruto pushed himself out of the T-Rex's mouth and landed on his feet. Alright, let's settle this once and for all. Gear Thur, huh? But he paused as the T-Rex sat down and looked at Naruto curiously and started to sniff him before it grinned and licked him. Ahahaha. I guess my Conqueror's Haki made you submit. Yes, this is awesome. Naruto yelled in glee. Did he just dash? Laura asked wide-eyed before Wade cut her off. Your future boy toy just tamed a T-Rex. Wade said as if he were talking about the weather. I don't even have words on this, Ororo said with a flat tone as Devil Dinosaur let Naruto sit on his head as he stood back up. I'm the Lord of the Savage Lands now. Naruto yelled with a smile. His fists raised in victory as the T-Rex roared loudly. You still can't keep him, Rogue said flatly. Oh come on. Naruto yelled as he pouted while Devil Dinosaur looked sad. You got a way to shrink him down? Rogue asked rhetorically. Well, I could ask Hank I suppose, but pretty sure he hates me, Naruto admitted. You do leave that impression on people, Laura snarked. And this is pre-Yellow Jacket, just wait RBB boy, Wade said with a snicker. Anyways, regardless of this new friend of yours, we still have other missions to do here, such as finding the wing to the X-Jet and the Fantastic Four. Remember? Ororo reminded, though I see you also brought along some of Magneto's followers, Ororo said as her gaze locked onto Mystique and Wanda. If we wished to harm any of you we would have done so already, Mystique pointed out. We aren't here to fight you. We have no quarrel with any of you, Wanda said holding up a hand. Yeah, if they did she could just erase you all basically. She's op as F, remember? Wade pointed out. Look, let's just agree that the Savage Land is a neutral zone, let's just focus on finding the Fantastic Four and the wing, Naruto said as he jumped down from Devil Dinosaur's head. Whatever keeps her away from me, Rogue said scowling at Mystique. Oh mommy issues, nyuk nyuk, ow. Wade was saying before Laura stabbed him in the stomach. My stomach. The enchiladas sleep there. Wade yelled in a panic. Why is he here? Ororo asked Wanda, already feeling a headache coming on. We've been asking that same question since he showed up, Mystique informed her. Well then. Naruto, why don't you and your new friend go try and find the Fantastic Four? Ororo suggested. Okay, anyone want to tag along? Naruto asked before. Step on it, Whiskers. Deadpool yelled after teleporting onto the back of Devil Dinosaur. Anybody else? Please. Naruto asked as he looked at the others desperately. Well, we'd all love to, but we have a thing. Right, ladies? Wanda asked as she walked away suddenly. Yes, we all have a thing. Rogue yelled following after. There is no thing, Laura said flatly as she walked away along with Mystique and Storm. So. Which of them are you gonna have a lemon with first? Or wait, is it gonna be Wasp? Oh, maybe it's Enchantress. She's already halfway to Yandra for you, Wade rambled. If you're gonna help, will you please make some semblance of sense? Naruto asked as he jumped onto Devil Dinosaur's head before he walked into the forest. I make perfect sense to them. You just can't read the FIC we're in, Wade yelled gesturing to nothing. This is gonna be a long trip, Naruto groaned as they traversed the forest. Mountain top. After a rather quick trek up the mountain via T-Rex, Naruto and Wade stood on the edge of a cliff of the mountain where the waterfall was. Okay, this is a good place to look for any sign of the Fantastic Four, Naruto said as he glanced over the edge. I see M. Wade yelled, holding his hands in front of his face like a telescope. How? Naruto asked, confused as he looked at the Mad Merc. You don't see M with your observation hockey? They're right there, Deadpool pointed in a direction. How the hell do you know about that? Naruto asked as he raised an eyebrow. Oh well, the thing is distraction, shove. Wade yelled before shoving Naruto off the cliff to the water below. You're so f***ed. Naruto yelled as he fell to the water pool below. Phew. Author-sama would have killed me if I gave the game away, Deadpool said before turning around to see Devil Dinosaur glaring at him. I'll give you a taco if you forget you saw that. Wade asked, hopefully holding up a taco. Devil Dinosaur just growled at this before he turned and smacked him with his tail, sending him over the cliffside. I regret nothing. Wade yelled before falling to the trees below. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 3. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author KFB Anime 87 on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.